Okay.
So you just made a Zoom with yourself?
I did. I made a Zoom with myself so that the people who aren't here can watch this and know what we learned today. So, okay, grammar, page 13.
It's getting so wobbly.
I know, I noticed that too. We're talking about adjectives today. You guys already know what those are. They're basically words that describe nouns. And you can determine if a word, if it is an adjective, by asking these questions. They suggest here next to memorize it. Which one, what kind, how many, or whose. If you can answer that with the word, or you can, let's see, let me rephrase that. If you look at a noun and you ask yourself which one or what kind or how many or whose, that word that you think of or see in the sentence is going to be the adjective, basically. That's how you find it. So for example, Robin crossed the slippery bridge. We know that bridge is the noun. And if you ask what kind of bridge, it's a
Slippery.
the slippery bridge. So slippery is the adjective. The bridge appeared slippery. So sometimes there might be a linking verb there. Remember how we talked about linking verbs are also connected to our five senses. So appeared would be how it looks. So appeared would be that linking verb, but slippery is still the adjective that describes the bridge there. And then Robin carried his bow. Sometimes pronouns can act as an adjective. When you ask, if you look at the noun bow and ask whose bow, it's his bow. So sometimes pronouns are adjectives. And in this book, you're going to label them as adjectives if they're in that spot as ADJ. So you're going to find the nouns and pronouns in the sentence. Once you find the noun or the pronoun, then you ask the adjective questions that we just went over. Which one, what kind, how many, or whose. And then that'll help you identify the adjective. And then you're going to write ADJ for adjective. And the example down here says, Robin strolled through the quiet woods with his bow. Robin's skill in archery was famous. So there you have the adjectives already labeled for you. The famous, Robin's skill in the archery was famous. So his skill, you might ask whose skill? It's Robin's skill, but what kind of skill? Or which skill? Which one? His famous skill. So that's how you find the other adjective, asking those questions. Any questions about that? Speaking of questions, no? Okay. Then capitalization, easy peasy cheesy, you already know when there's a name, first word in the sentence, if you're using I by itself, all of those are reasons to capitalize letters. And then equality adjective at the bottom, that's a dress up word, because we're learning dress up words. You guys already learned ly adverb and you use that in your paragraph. We're going to slowly be adding dress up words to your writing, and strong adjective is one eventually that we'll add. And it's basically giving the reader a better image of whatever you're talking about in the sentence. So if I say the nice rainbow, I mean, the rainbow's nice, that's okay. But if I say the colorful rainbow, then that gives the reader a better visual. You'll imagine all the colors of the rainbow. So that's an example of a quality adjective. Any questions about that? Go ahead and turn the page. An example of it, like I just said, nice is a weak adjective. So there are weak adjectives. They're still adjectives, but quality adjectives give more of an image. The who, which clause, we're going to be talking about that today, actually, in the writing part of the class. We're going to add that to your dress up list. Wait, you already have that, huh? Did we talk about that yet?
No.
Okay,
No,
today. Never mind. Sorry, Serena, I forget I just said that. You're going to add that today. So we're going to talk about what a who, which clause is. Just a refresher. Clauses have verbs and phrases do not. So a phrase would be like the prepositional phrase that you guys have been finding in your grammar books. Those are just starts with a preposition, ends with a noun, no verb in there, but a clause does have a verb. So and it describes the noun that it follows. So you use who, right here, I'm at the top here, who refers to people, personified animals, and pets. So personified animals would be an example like the tortoise and the hare, where they're animals, but they're acting like people. They're talking, they're racing, character animals that are actually like acting. See, there's that fly. I'm telling you, it's gonna make me feel bonkers. Sorry. Yes, they're acting like people because they're talking and pets. But then we use which when you're referring to things. Is there a fly swatter in this house or is it up at your other house? So if you just like take your book and smack, I'm okay with that. Oh, not your friend. The fly. Smarty pants. Okay. Animals and places. So the animal that like elephant that's just being an elephant, you're gonna use which for that type of an animal. Okay. Here is some examples of fragments and complete sentences. So the first one is complete, Robin eyed the target. The second one is a fragment. So they added who, which works there, but the sentence now is a fragmented sentence, meaning it's incomplete. Robin who eyed the target. And you, even when you read it, you kind of feel like you're left hanging, like what happened after that? Who eyed the target. You need another verb after the who which clause. So here is a better sentence at the bottom of that section. Robin who eyed the target picked up his bow. So you have that word picked as your second verb after the clause. So you need a verb in the clause and then another one after the clause, because it basically steals the verb from the original sentence. And you have to have another verb after it. So notice the commas around it too. That's part of the rules with a who which clause, if you put it in the middle of the sentence. Well, there's a couple of comma rules. We'll go over that in just a second. Okay. Down below, this is how you'll mark it. Oh my gosh, this fly. It's on my forehead.
He's right there too.
Did it land?
No, he's right. He's right. He's right.
It's on your head. Hit yourself.
Hit myself. I feel like I could totally hit myself if it would kill the fly.
That's me at night. I would hit myself if it.
Ah.
It's fuzzy.
Yeah, but then it'd be like a big splash on the forehead.
Bring it back. Okay. So if I suddenly, okay, you know what's going on. Anyway, Robin thought about the contest, which he hoped to win. So here's an example of the who which clause at the end of the sentence, which it can go there. And notice they put parentheses around it and then W/W. That's how you're going to label it in this book. And then you also are going to identify the subject and verb within the clause. We're on page 14, actually, Serena, in case you were confused.
You know, what?
Oh, you're just looking ahead. Okay. And then here's an example of the men who worked for the king could not be trusted. There's an example of it in the middle of the sentence with parentheses, W/W to label it, and then the subject and verb labeled as well within the who which clause. Now, the commas. There's a difference between essential and non-essential. So you've probably heard that word before. Essential means like vital or super important. So basically essential means you have to have it in order for the sentence to make sense, like whatever you're talking about. So if it's essential, you do not need a comma. Like for instance, the second example here, the men who worked for the king, that's identifying who the men were. So that's essential. That's why there's no comma there. But the one above it, Robin thought about the contest, which he hoped to win. It's telling what he hoped, but it's not changing the context of the sentence. He just hoped that he would win. It's not identifying like which contest it is or something important or essential. If it's non-essential, you put a comma. And the way I remember it, it's like chopping up the sentence or cutting into a piece of cake. I always relate desserts to things because it just helps me. And I like dessert. But basically, if you put a comma, it's like you can remove it like a piece of cake from the whole cake, and it still is a good sentence. That's how I remember when to use a comma and when not to use a comma. Okay, I went through that kind of fast. Are you guys good with all that? Any questions so far? Let's do the practice page. And this is page 15. So Serena, how about you go ahead and read it to us and then we'll talk about it.
Robin whistled and thought about the contest, which would be entertaining. He wasn't worried about the other archers.
Good. So the vocabulary is entertaining. Go ahead, Victoria.
Entertaining is like to be amused.
Good, to be amused. Could be a football game, could be a concert. Okay, so put a check mark there. For articles, let's go ahead and write them in. A and the at the top there next to articles. And go ahead and find the two that are in these sentences and go ahead and label them. Some of you are ahead of me. All right, we'll go a little faster. Nouns, how about Paisley? Help us find the 3 nouns.
Robin, archers, and a pink contest.
Robin, archers, and contest. Yes. That's right. I had to double check. But you're right. And then the pronouns, how about Elizabeth? Where's the pronoun? Yep. Since that was quick, how about you do the adjectives too?
Entertaining.
Entertaining.
And worried.
Yes, worried.
Maybe would other be one?
Yes. Because you're asking those questions, remember which archers? Yeah, the other archers. Worried is explaining how he is, and then entertaining describes the contest. Okay, good. And then we have the coordinating conjunction. Go ahead, Victoria.
It's and before whistle before.
Good. Do you guys remember the acronym for coordinating conjunctions?
Like it's been
Fanboys, yes. You remember that one when we talked about it? Fanboys? So right next to it at the top here, just put fanboys in all caps. Anybody remember what each one of those letters stands for? Fanboys? Other than Victoria?
Or and more.
Nor is the weird one that we don't use very often.
What?
Yes?
Or
Yes. What's the Y? Yet. Oh, you remember?
Yes, so.
Yet and so, good. Yep. So and is the one in this sentence. Prepositional phrases. Mia, you got the fun one. You can phone a friend if you need to. It's okay. And you can always look back on where you put that post-it if you need to look at the list.
Is it other archers? Or
So that's other is an adjective. So remember it starts with a preposition. So you're close though, because back up a little bit. See if you see about on that list back there. Okay, so Paisley was helping you too. So about the other archers is the prepositional phrase. Remember when you didn't know?
And the about the
Oh, and about the contest. So I was looking at, not the one you were looking at, huh?
No, I was looking at
Both, okay. Do you remember when you first took the class, you did not know what a prepositional phrase was? Look at you, girl, rocking it. Okay. Got those. So about the contest and about the other archers are the two prepositional phrases. Now the who, which clause, I think we're back to Serena. Starts with who or which, so it's pretty easy to find.
Oh. Which would be entertaining.
See, it wasn't as bad as you thought. Which would be entertaining is the which clause, so you're gonna label it by putting parentheses around it like that, and then W/W. So it looks like that,
I know.
okay. And then, subject verb pairs, so Paisley, let's find the verbs first.
Whistled,
Good,
oh, wasn't worried, I think.
what, the was in wasn't is a verb, yes.
And is entertaining.
No, we already labeled that as an adjective.
Without
Thought is a verb. And then there's two more like linking verbs. Actually, they're helping verbs.
which.
Would be,
Oh,
there you go. Would be, so Elizabeth, there's two sentences here. So the first one, whistled and thought. So who whistled and thought?
Robin.
Robin. So Robin is the subject. So we're gonna write an S right above that N for subject. And then Elizabeth, what about the second sentence? What's the subject in that one? He, good. But remember earlier, I told you about the who, which clause also has a subject and verb pair. And I forgot to talk to you about this. So if you don't see it, it's actually which. So sometimes the who or the which becomes the subject of the who, which clause. So right above where you put W/W, you can also put S for subject. Sometimes you'll see a pronoun or a noun in there that is the subject. But in this one, it actually is the word which. Good, all right, we're almost there. So now, Victoria, capitals,
Robin and he.
Robin and he. Victoria, what about the comma?
Is it adding a comma or taking it?
That's the question, it doesn't say. What do you think?
Take away what is my something,
Yes, do you know why though?
because it doesn't come before coordinating.
Oh, that's partly true, but with how many things that you list?
Oh, with,
Three or more, you need a comma, so this only has
so
two. Uh-huh, no, you got it. You were on the right track. And then, Mia, what about the end mark? Period. And then what about the apostrophe? Where does that go? Mia?
Archer?
No, there's actually a contraction in there. The second sentence.
Was.
There you go. Between the N and the T. So, okay, good. That was it. So hopefully you put check marks above at the top next to everything.
Where was the comma?
The comma we were taking out doesn't tell you if you add it or take it out. In this one, you take it out. It's right after whistled. Because it's listing two verbs instead of three or more. So you don't need a comma for that one. Okay. Any questions about our practice page? You guys are frantically writing down your sentence. And you can finish writing those later because we need to move on to the writing part of class. So go ahead and put your homework for grammar will be 16 through 18. At the end of class, I'm going to have you guys write down this homework assignment. I'm just going to put it together. Grammar pages 16 through 18. You can write that later. All right, done with grammar. Let's get out your binders.
Class then.
3:45.
Oh.
Okay. Get out disgusting and delicacy. Everything from that front pocket, you can get out the whole stack because we're gonna look at it and then we're gonna put it away actually.
What's this box for? I don't understand that.
That box, well, I was gonna have you guys staple it in that order and then put it in the box in the classroom. But like I said earlier, I'm gonna have you start turning in your homework online now. So you can ignore that box is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. On the checklist. Go ahead and get out everything from your homework this week. put it in front of you, and we're gonna look at the checklist first. So find that for disgusting and delicacy. And I did notice that all of you remembered the ly adverb and you underlined it. So that was the main thing I wanted to point out on the checklist. And then the title rule, and I think you forgot the title rule, which is
What?
okay. So
What's the
look
title
at your checklist. I'll show you where it's at. You might have missed that one. It's okay. It's new. And I will be talking about this checklist like every single lesson, yes, because this is how I grade your work, or this is how I check for your work. I have to see if you did everything on the checklist, so, right? So when you use your checklist, girls, you want to make sure to check the actual box as you complete it. That way, you know you did it.
It's
That's okay. And then, do you see, the third box down says title. Title centered and repeats 1 to 3 keywords from the final sentence. That is a new, okay, I'm gonna explain that to you. And Serena, I don't blame you for being a little lost with that, because I think I forgot to explain that last week. And I don't know if you've had this course before ever, so Mia's probably in the same boat. So in your last sentence, why don't you just look at your last sentence really quick and read your last sentence to me? Go ahead, Serena.
next time you are served a delicacy of eggplant or maybe disgusting broccoli, don't complain.
There you go. So from that last sentence, the rule is you can choose 1 to 3 keywords, and you have to use 1 to 3 of them in your title. So you could choose something like "don't complain" as your title. You see how if you just change the title and not call it disgusting or delicacy, but you're going to give it a new title, you could call it "don't complain," because it's what we're trying to do is create this creative way to title your papers. And I know, Serena, you know music. A lot of you already know music in here as far as how it's set up. But have you ever noticed in a song, a lot of times the first sounds you hear in the song are either, it's an instrument or drums or some kind of a sound you hear. A lot of times they bring back that same sound at the end of the song. Have you ever noticed that before? Like either the same notes or the same type of sound, whether it's an instrument or another type of sound. I hope I'm making sense, but basically they do that because in our brains, it resolves the song in your head. When you start it a certain way, and the song might go louder, faster, it might have like a bridge in the middle where it kind of changes tempo a little bit. And then at the end of the song, usually you pay attention to that when you're listening to songs now, you'll notice that a lot of the same sounds or the same words or the same tone happens at the end. That's because we go, in our brain. It's like, it's complete, it kind of wraps it up. So same idea with your title and the last sentence of whatever you're writing, whether it's 1 paragraph or it's 10 paragraphs, that very, very, very last sentence, if you tie it into your title, it does something to the brain. It's a good thing. And it kind of resolves like the whole concept. Does that make sense to you guys, what I'm saying?
Sure.
Okay, she's like, yeah, kind of, but anyway, that is the rule. So from now on, and you don't have to have 3 words from the last sentence. It could just be 1. And you could add other words to your title. Does that make sense? So you could do something like, you could say something about broccoli. Let's see, what can we say about broccoli for a title? Like
broccoli, maybe? Or
like broccoli, or
broccoli's not as gross as you think.
broccoli's not as gross as you think. That
Broccoli is really good.
Yes,
Yeah.
it smells bad though. We could probably agree on that.
I
It tastes good. Oh,
I
really?
don't think it's bad.
If you microwave it the next day, sometimes in the microwave it doesn't smell that great. No, you don't have to cross out anything though.
I know, but it's extra words.
That's okay. You can keep those words in the last sentence. So you don't want to change your last sentence. What you're trying to do is pull one, two or three words from your last sentence to put in the title. Does that make sense? You don't have to change your last
You do the
sentence.
title after?
After, yes.
Oh,
After you write your paragraph, when you're at the very end,
gee, that explains a lot.
so you can erase that. You can leave what you had, because I like your last sentence. After you finish your last sentence, but sometimes, you have an idea of a title, you're like, oh, this would be the greatest title, but you don't have the words in the sentence. You can change your last sentence to make that happen. Does that make
I
sense?
did a little bit, well,
I'm just explaining it to you now, and you can do it on the next one, and it'll make more sense, but were you gonna say something, Elizabeth?
my topic and country sentence did not like repeat and reflect, because they were supposed to say I had to change the topic sentence. Because I liked a title from the topic sentence, so that I added
Oh.
a clincher, and then it kind of evened out in the end.
That's a good way to look at it. And we haven't gotten into topic and clincher yet, so don't worry if you don't know what she's talking about. Because we will, for sure. No, that's okay. Those are all good ideas. So just remember, after you write, then you pick a word to put in the title, but you can add words to your title, but at least one of them has to come from that last sentence. Okay. You can put these now in finished compositions. And then make sure you put that lesson plan page that we don't use on top, just to kind of help show the order of everything. And then you're going to stick it behind the blue ringed octopus. So once you turn back to finished compositions, turn past blue ring octopus and stick it back there. Everything except, oh, I forgot to tell you, don't put the yellow pages in there. So set those aside for a second. You might want it, yeah, there you go. The yellow pages we're gonna put in a different spot.
Where do we put our like, hey, would that be like, well,
The homework assignment,
Yeah.
you can put it behind that stuff too.
like, is there a certain order we have to put it in? And
No, the handwritten part can go in any order. But this, I do want at least this page on top, just so that it shows that everything behind that goes with that. But not the yellow pages. Okay.
I keep getting the whole picture that topic.
Oh, you know what? And I keep forgetting to bring a hole punch, because I can bring one.
we have one from just.
Oh, good, okay.
I just make a small rip in it and then shove it in.
It works for now.
I read it. And-
There you go. Everybody's doing the same thing.
Well, why does it
Um,
paper- Oh, no,
Let's see.
I'm trying to look at on the paper.
On page 21, this yellow page, I do want you to add something on number 2. So let's go ahead and close your rings. Yeah, don't close it without that, because
Yeah.
too many students have done that. This is on page 21, the yellow page. You already have ly adverbs on there. So now number 2 is going to be who, which, was, and we just kind of talked about that in our grammar book. So it's kind of cool. Now we're going to actually practice using that in our writing. Remember, these clauses have a subject and verb. And it describes a little bit more about something. It could be, if it's a person, remember how I said if it's a person or a character that's an animal acting like a human, then you would use who, or a pet. But if you're talking about the noun as an object or an animal just being an animal, you would use which. Like if you're talking about the zebra, which is eating the grass in the fields or something like that, then you would use which. So there's different times when you use who and which. And the comma rules, so you can go back and check on the grammar book to see the examples there of how to use who and which. But the key is to find the noun in the sentence. And we'll go over that again. Now this page can go behind the tab that says stylistic techniques. Page 21 goes behind stylistic techniques. And then the last one that we're going to put away is this page 23.
Ah.
That one goes behind model charts and graphs. And it goes behind the one that's already in there. Put it behind that one. Model charts and outlines, yeah. There should already be a yellow page in there, so it's gonna go on the back side of that, yeah, behind that. Good. Yay. I know. And part of this is learning how to organize your binder for future classes, because it will come in handy. You'll be able to find things easier that way too. Okay, now finally, you're gonna get out the next lesson, which is the eagle and the jackdaw, which is week 3. You're gonna get out 5 pages until you see week 4. Don't get out week 4, just get out all of week 3. Yes. From last week, I can go back and finish compositions with the rest of your stuff from last week.
Did we pull out the Komodo dragon too?
Yes, Komodo dragon and the checklist. Usually the checklist is like the last page of the week. So yes, all of those. And a lined piece of paper. We might as well get that out. And then we'll be ready.
You know, I should probably transfer all of this to like a bigger binder.
Oh, yeah, you could. You could do that.
I need this stuff. not
Because
the
this
binder.
comes out, I think, oh, no, it doesn't. I thought maybe it had a pocket you could pull it out, but I don't.
Yeah.
That's okay. Okay, got all that out. We're gonna talk about the new story. This is The Eagle and the Jackdaw, which is an interesting story. We're gonna read it. But before we get too deep into that, I do want to show you this letter to the editor. This is page 29. It's in that stack that you just took out. This is, you probably know when you write a newspaper article or a magazine story or any kind of editing, any type of writing, even if it's a book, you hire an editor to check your work, because having a second set of eyes helps to catch errors, make sure it flows, make sure it makes sense. So that's what the editor does. And usually if you do it professionally, you have to pay the editor, and it's pretty expensive. But I know you guys don't have like just $100 hanging out in your pocket to pay your mom for reading your homework. So instead of that, you're gonna do exchange their services to edit your paper with a cup of coffee, a snack, I don't know what your mom would enjoy, but if she likes shoulder massages or helping with the dishes, which I know is probably already on your chore list, but doing something out of the ordinary to help is a form of payment for them, just to get into the habit of giving back when somebody helps you with something, okay? And they're gonna check and make sure when you work on these papers that it flows. Because sometimes, you know, it's funny, I think I explained this before, we might forget the word the. It's because our brain is going so fast and we're like writing away, or typing, and then all of a sudden you don't catch it. So always making sure when you're done with your homework, you've done your checklist, everything is done, you show it to your editor, your mom, dad, whoever, and have them look it over for you. So go ahead and put your name where it says writer's name on this. And then when you get home later, I want you to give this to whoever is your home teacher. Okay? Okay. Put that aside. Yeah. And now we're going to look at the eagle and the jackdaw. This is attributed to Aesop. So that just means it's an Aesop's fable. Have you heard of those fables before? Aesop's fable. Basically, they're short stories. It's nice and short. Usually has animal characters in it. And usually there's a lesson you can learn or a moral to the story. Okay. And so that's what this is, a short story that we can learn a lesson from. And does anyone feel like reading it? The eagle and the jackdaw? Okay, Victoria, go for it. We'll just kind of follow along and then we'll talk about it and start a keyword outline. So go ahead.
The eagle and the jackdaw attributed this. A large eagle flew down from his lofty perch that seized upon a small lamb and carried it from aloft with powerful wings and talons. The jackdaw observed the eagle's prowess and disturbed his enemy. He wanted to emulate the strength and skill of the eagle. Therefore, he flew around with a great whir of his wings and settled upon a large lamb, intending to carry him off. But his claws became entangled in the ram's fleece, and he was not able to release himself, though he flapped his feathers as much as he could. The shepherd, seeing what had happened, ran up and caught him. He at once clipped the bird's wings and took him home that night as a gift to his children. They said to him, "Father, what kind of bird is it?" He replied, "I am certain he is a crow, but we would like you to think he is an eagle."
Good. Nice reading. So kind of a weird gift, I'm just gonna say.
Wait, so they by clip, does it mean like they chopped off his wings?
No, if it's,
Good
when
question.
I clip my chicken's wings, you only clip the first few feathers.
So clipping is it's a good
Good
question
idea.
if you don't live on a farm. You're
Like,
right.
if they clip dog's ears and they
Yeah.
chop half of it off.
I know, and that's awful. Yes, exactly. But they do that to like Doberman pinchers, certain breeds. They like their ears to be a certain way. But for a chicken, it's clipping the feathers, and they can't feel that. There's no nerve endings in the feathers. But why do we do that? They'll fly the fence. So chickens don't just fly like away, but they do flap and jump, and they can get over if the fence is only like 4 feet tall. They can get over it. Mine do sometimes. So if you clip the wings at the end, like she's explaining, then it doesn't catch enough wind to be able to get over the fence, so it keeps them inside. Yeah, because they've always got their wings like close to them, and you can't even tell. So that's what he did with this crow, so that the crow wouldn't fly away. Now we know crows literally fly; they can fly across the neighborhood and stuff. But it's a weird gift to give his children, because crows, I don't know about you, but they're creepy. They are creepy. Yeah. They're really, and they're loud, and they eat dead animals, and they're just kind of, annoying. They attack other birds. They're just kind of, I think so, all around bad. But anyway, what is the lesson, aside from all that, what is the lesson we can learn from this story, though? Can you think of a lesson we can learn from it? Okay, Victoria. Pride comes before the fall. So explain that. How does that work in this context?
Like the jackdaw was like being prideful and like was like, "We can do that one, he was way better," but then he couldn't, and then he ended up getting
Captured. Yeah. So he wasn't free like the eagle. Kidnapped, exactly. Bird napped. Yeah, so that's a good one. So to not be prideful or greedy, but to accept who you are, and obviously a crow isn't going to be able to pick up well, he was trying to pick up a ram, and if you know what that is, it's a male sheep, and they're huge, and they're probably like 200 pounds.
We actually have a
Plus.
ram, and he's smaller than our girls.
Oh, okay, so typically they're huge.
Typically they're big, but he's way tiny.
That's cute. And I think still too big for a bird to pick up. But so a jackdaw is like, that's the same thing as a crow, basically. And then I was going to say the eagle, let's see, did he pick up a lamb, a small lamb? I don't even know. Maybe super baby, but I don't even know if they can really pick up. Maybe a brand new baby.
Big, like videos of big eagles.
Yeah, if it's like maybe a bald eagle.
It depends on if it's like a big male eagle.
That's
versus
true.
Like a tiny
A
little
full grown
bird.
one. Yeah. But obviously even an eagle wouldn't be able to pick up a ram, so.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's the lesson we can learn from it. We're gonna build our keyword outline now with this. So go ahead and get out your paper. Put your name at the top left. Like you always do. I'm gonna just draw my paper on here. Name here, date is 10/2/23. And we're gonna keep the title for the keyword outline, so the eagle and the jackdaw. Notice in the title, and the are not capitalized. We're gonna eventually talk about that, but for now, just copy that. And then put KWO. What is KWO again? Good. This story, we have Roman numeral 1 and then 1 through 8. So same thing, I think this is the last lesson where we actually do word by word not word by word, sentence by sentence for the outline. And then we're gonna branch off into another technique, but so each sentence is gonna have keywords. Remember the rules, 3 keywords. You can use numbers, symbols, and abbreviations for free. So same thing, I'm gonna have us all go around and just do one together, but they can be different. So if you have a different idea than whoever's sharing their idea, that's okay. Keep it the way you want to put it on your outline, and then I'll give you time to finish the rest of them on your own. So I'll start with Paisley. The first sentence, a large eagle flew down from his lofty perch, seized upon a small lamb, and carried him aloft with powerful wings and talons. So that's a lot of keywords. So we're gonna have to really condense that down to 3. You can think of what we could do there.
Or you could do just an E for eagle.
I like that. E for eagle. Let's put a circle around it, and I'm thinking if we do it here too, that'll help us remember E is for eagle. Okay.
You could do for the wings, you could do a feather, but land, you're going to do a little symbol for small.
Okay. So eagle, I wonder if we should kind of indicate that it flew down.
You could do like
A down arrow, okay, you like that idea, a down, like a, maybe a diagonal down arrow like that. Eagle flew down. And then something for small. Maybe we just need lamb. We probably could remember that it's small, huh? About that, we'll put lamb. That's good because we only have 1 word so far, so we have 2 more we could put. Lamb. What else?
Powerful.
And
then you could do a feather.
Okay. Maybe carried though, huh? Carried and then powerful. Okay. Like I said, if you guys have something else in mind, you can put what you think. Powerful. I wonder if we could, so a feather. And you'll remember that that's wing.
Yeah.
Okay. Or a wing, if you want to draw a wing, yeah.
My mom for a bird just goes like,
Oh, yeah,
so,
like a bird in flight.
yeah.
Yeah, that's always an easy one. I remember when I used to do that. Sun in the palm tree. You guys probably do that too, huh? We're in Hawaii now. Okay, where were we? I think we're good. Eagle flew down, grabbed a small lamb, and carried it with his powerful wings and talons. If you want to draw, you could, I guess, draw some claws, like. You know what I mean? That looks weird, huh? Anyways. Good. Serena, how about the next one? It starts with a jackdaw observed.
I would do like a jackdaw,
Okay,
because you can't really like symbol that. I mean, I guess you could draw a bird, but then you don't know what it is.
you could do like we did for eagle. And put a J and then circle J up here, that would help you. Cause I wouldn't know how to draw a jackdaw.
Okay, and envy,
Yeah,
like
envy.
oh, oops,
There might be a couple words before that though, huh?
yeah. Observed,
I think observed, yeah.
and then like an E with a circle around it for eagle.
Okay,
And the eagle's like power.
what
Well,
could you,
it's-
oh, you're thinking
it's like-
prowess.
Prowess.
Yeah,
I guess you could.
you could put prowess. And then envy, that would
Yeah.
work. So prowess is basically like, I'm drawing a blank on how to explain what prowess is. An unusual skill or ability. And I kind of think of like, I'm trying to think of the word. Anyway, prowess is like an unusual skill or ability, so they're able to carry these animals away, and so obviously the jackdaw is jealous. Okay. Let's see, Elizabeth, the next one.
We wanted to emulate the strength and skill of the eagle. So, I wrote, just like J circle, you know, that it's now the jackdaw.
Okay,
And then an arrow to emulate, comma strength plus skill. And then another little arrow to the eagle, or eagle type thing.
okay. Strength plus skill, skill, and then arrow to E.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. And then Victoria, I can't believe we're running out of time already, but we're gonna get through this last little bit here. Go ahead and do the next one.
I put like J for jackdaw,
Okay,
and then were, and then you like wings, or a wing,
okay,
and then an arrow up for large, and then the ram, and then carry, and then kind of thing.
hey, were, and then you drew a wing?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna drop feather, because that's what I did earlier, and I can kind of do that. And then what?
Oh, like an arrow pointing up, and then ram, to show that it was a big ram. And then carry, and then kind of like a ball, and then to show it like a little.
Like that? Kind of?
Yeah.
Okay. So the ram, you'll remember, is large, because they're the males. The big horns. Okay, so Mia, how about the next one?
But his claws became entangled in the ram's fleece, and he was not able to release himself, though he flapped his feathers.
Yeah.
So. One. And please.
Pause, entangled. Fleece, yeah.
And then like a circle right next to it.
Yeah,
Not able to read anything.
yeah. If that helps you remember, yep, you can do that. And
Draw feathers, like feathers. Like that.
oh,
Maybe we
okay.
could draw feathers and arrows.
Question.
Yes,
If you were to like write like escape with a big circle and put it, does that count as a word?
it does, unfortunately. But you could do that for
And I
instead of
scrap
an,
this out all my words.
right? I know, right? That's how you get away with all of them.
What?
So if it didn't count as a word, you could use that, but no, it counts as a word. Okay. Well, and if yours is different, that's okay, but, so your homework this week is gonna be to go ahead and finish the rest of this, which shouldn't take you very long, and write the paragraph. But I do wanna talk to you before you go about the who, which clause. So, for example, if I have this sentence, and I'm just gonna write this, and you don't have to write this down, you can just look at what I'm doing here. The children asked, what kind of bird is it? And, bird is it? And you might use this type of sentence at the end. That is a complete sentence. The children asked, what kind of bird is it? But then if I want to change that, let's say I want to put who in here because we're talking about the children. So let's say right here, I put who. The children who asked, what kind of bird is it? Now it is an incomplete sentence because you don't have that second verb after the who clause. So this part could be correct, but you have to add more after this. So the children who asked, what kind of bird is it? You could say, was curious. Wait, hold on, not was curious, hold on. Let me get that. Or curious, yeah, because was is for, good, thank you. And that word were is a helping verb to that word curious. So were curious adds an extra verb. So now it says the children who asked, what kind of bird is it? Were curious. It still sounds a little weird, but it does make a complete sentence that way. So when you're looking for a place to put who or which, because that's going to be on your checklist now. Let's look at that really quick. Find your checklist, which is on page 35. Look under dress ups on that page 35. You'll see you have Y1LB, and now you have the who, which clause. So as you're completing these and checking these off on your checklist, you're going to look for a spot to put who or which clause. So remember, if you're talking about people or these characters, actually these are not acting like people in the story, right? So you would use which if you're talking about the eagle or the jackdaw. If you're talking about the father at the end, you would use who. Does that make sense to you guys? So you're going to find the noun. If you're talking about a thing like the wings, you could put which next to that because that's a thing, right? So you're going to look for a spot for a who, which clause and use your grammar book to remind you the comma rules when you're adding that to your paragraph. Okie dokie. So your homework then, let's write this down on another piece of paper here. Your homework is grammar pages, and this is homework due. So if you'd have a clean piece of paper for this, due 10/7. No, just kidding. 10/9. 23. That's the due date. Grammar pages 16 to 18. Finish. KWO. 3. Write I'm gonna use a paragraph symbol, just so it's faster to write. Write paragraph using checklist. And don't forget, check them off as you complete them on that list. And you'll notice that title rule is on all of them. So now for this one, Serena and Mia, you guys and everybody will think of a title using the title rule. So it has to have a word from the last sentence in your title, at least one, okay? And you finish the sentence first, but if you think along the way, you go, man, I really want to say something like, the foolish jackdaw. Maybe you want to call the title the foolish jackdaw. Then you want to use that word foolish and you like that word, then you can add it to your last sentence so that it connects. You know what I mean? Did you have a question, Victoria?
I was gonna ask, do we have to do anything for the Komodo dragons? Yeah.
Not this week. Nope.
Oh.
You don't have to do anything with that one.
Okay.
This is just, and you can put E and J, if that helps you remember, it's just for that one. The eagle and the jackdaw. Just this one. Finish this for eagle and the jackdaw and write the paragraph using your checklist, and that's it. And then your grammar.
And one other thing real quick,
Yes.
for the keyword outline, if I remember correctly, quotes don't count as words, right? Like you can put in, like,
The whole quote.
the children asked him, Father, what kind of bird is it? So if you put it in quotation marks in your keyword outline, does it not count?
I don't think you can put the whole quote. I think it's still. Really? That's a really good question then. Because
It's like a barrier.
it's a barrier. She's like, we're counting it as one group of words. I know what you mean. I don't know.
One word, like.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so I'll have to look
I
into
might
that.
be wrong, but I think that's what I did before. So
Yeah?
I wasn't sure if I did it.
I don't think that's right, but I will let you know because now you got me curious. I'll have to go back and watch his video on it and see if he says that, because I don't think we've ever used that as one. So maybe not. Try to stretch yourself and not use it as one word. And then if it's allowable, I'll let you know. Good question though. Okay, that's the end of class.